Hello, everyone. We're just going to give a couple of more seconds for people to tune in. Welcome to our info session for People Analytics, postgraduate certificate for the winter 2026 term. My name is Mashur Chaudhry, and I am the manager of recruitment and sales for the Chang School. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Toronto Metropolitan University is built upon. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. I want to pay my respects to the Indigenous peoples and ancestors who stewarded and cared for the nature and people who lived on the land where TMU is located today. At the university, we've made a deep and long-lasting commitment to truth and reconciliation, and I invite you to learn more about this work online. Now I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's session. Your microphone is muted throughout the event so as not to disturb other attendees or the presenters. For the hearing impaired, we have automated captioning available, which you can access by activating it in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions to today's presenters by typing your questions into the question box of the control panel, and you can send your questions anytime during the session. We'll answer them at the end of the presentation. Now I'd like to introduce our guest speakers for today. First, we have Dr. Aubrey Wilson, Program Director of Continuing Education here at the Chang School. And we have Ilya Mayor, Instructor, Course Reviewer, Curriculum Committee Member, and Program Advisory Lead at the Chang School. We also have on the call Sarah Weisbrod, who's the Interim Program Manager, and also Safia Yusuf and Abby Vagikaran, who are our client service and academic and career advisors. Now, before I invite Aubrey to present the certificate, we wanted to do a quick poll just to see what our goals and motivations are. So if you could take a couple of seconds to answer this quick poll, what motivated you to consider this certificate? We have a couple of options there: career advancement, career change, skill building for current role, personal interest, and others. So we'll leave that on for just a few more seconds. And after that, we will share the results with you. Thank you for participating because this really helps us provide some feedback to the rest of the team. All right, so it looks like career advancement and career change are the leading ones, and skill building for current role is just behind that as well. So thank you for taking part in that. Now it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Aubrey Wilson, our Program Director for Continuing Education at the Chang School, to go over a quick overview of the certificate.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mashur. So good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining the information session on the fully online postgraduate certificate in People Analytics for HR professionals. As you heard, my name is Aubrey Wilson. I'm the program director for the continuing education at the Chang School, and I'm thrilled to guide you through this exciting opportunity that can enhance your career prospects and professional skills. So to get us started, we're just going to go over some really quick facts. So firstly, this program is designed to be flexible. It's completely online, which allows you to study from anywhere and fit your coursework around existing commitments. So this flexibility makes it easier for you to balance your education with work, family, and other responsibilities. We do recommend that you progress through the 4 courses in sequence. However, there is flexibility and you have the option to tailor your progression in a way that suits your existing knowledge and time preferences for completion. And speaking of time frame to completion, for those of you who may be keen to progress quickly, you can finish the program in as little as 1 year. However, you do have up to 3 years to complete all of the course requirements, so there's a lot of flexibility. A key component to our online programs are the live synchronous sessions, which provide you with the opportunity to engage directly with your instructors and peers in real time, fostering a collaborative learning environment that enriches your understanding of the material. The number of live sessions varies upon course, but you can expect in these courses to see 1 per week. And you can find these listed on the course registration page for specific days and times. You'll also find that this program has a focus on practicality and assessments that are designed to mirror real-world scenarios, ensuring that what you learn is immediately applicable to your professional practice. So you won't be just learning theory, you'll be putting it into practice in ways that reflect the challenges that you'll face in the field. So with that overview, let's discuss who this program is for. So if you are an HR professional aiming to enhance your analytical skills and optimize HR processes, this program will equip you with the tools to analyze data effectively and streamline operations and make informed decisions that contribute to your organization's success. For anybody early in your career and you're seeking to enter HR with a focus on data-driven decision-making, this certificate provides a solid grounding in HR analytics, making you a competitive candidate in today's data-centric business environment. If you're a data analytics professional looking to transition into HR or align your skills more closely with HR goals, this program bridges that gap, helping you apply your existing expertise in a new context. So next, let's explore the key outcomes that you can expect to achieve upon completing the program. So by the end of the program, you will have developed several crucial skills that will enhance your effectiveness as an HR professional. You'll learn how to create clear and compelling visuals that make complex data easy to understand. The skill will help you tailor your communications to different audiences, ensuring your insights are effectively conveyed and your recommendations are well received by all of those involved. Understanding the legal and ethical implications of data and data analysis are vital in HR. This program will equip you with the knowledge to handle sensitive data and responsibly, ensuring compliance with relevant laws and maintaining the trust of your workforce. You'll gain an understanding of statistical techniques and predictive analytics, enabling you to discover trends and predict future outcomes based on employee data. So this will allow you to make proactive decisions that can improve workforce planning, talent management, and overall organizational performance. And finally, you'll learn how to position people analytics as a strategic tool that aligns HR activities with broader business objectives. So by demonstrating the impact of data-driven decisions, you'll play a key role in ensuring HR contributes to the organization's success. So these outcomes are designed not only to enhance your technical skills, but also to empower you to drive strategic change within your organization. So whether you're looking to optimize HR processes, improve decision-making, or align HR with business goals, these competencies will be invaluable in your career. So let's go over the admission criteria for the certificate program, as ensuring you meet the criteria is essential to setting yourself up for the success in the program. So to be eligible for the program, you must have an undergraduate degree or equivalent form of post-secondary education. So this requirement ensures that all participants have a foundational level of education are prepared for the advanced concepts and analytical techniques covered in the program. So although it's not mandatory, we highly recommend that you have 3 years of relevant professional experience. And this could be in HR, data analytics, or a related field. Having this background will enable you to more closely relate to the program content, apply your learning directly to real-world situations, and contribute meaningfully to discussions and projects throughout the course. And if you're unsure whether your qualifications meet the admissions requirements, don't hesitate to reach out to our client services team. They're there to help you navigate the process and answer any questions that you might have. So let's walk through the application process. We've made it as straightforward as possible so you can complete your application with ease. So you'll start by preparing an updated resume, and you'll want to include your most recent and relevant experience in education. And once your resume is ready, you'll just proceed to the online application form, where you'll fill out some very basic information. And after filling out the form, you'll be prompted to upload your resume. And finally, you'll review your application to make sure everything is complete, submit the form, and then once you've submitted it, you'll receive a response from our team within 3 business days. And this can vary depending on the time of year in which you submit your application. We are closed for an end of the year break. And so we have the dates posted on our website. So you'll want to be mindful of that if you plan on starting the program anytime in the winter. So if you have questions or need assistance at any point in the application process or before, we are here to help. So this concludes my portion of the presentation. I'm going to pass it back to Mashur so he can move us on to the next section.
Thank you so much for sharing that overview, Aubrey. It really provides a guideline of people that are interested to apply to this certificate and what they can learn and achieve. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Ilya Mayor, instructor, course reviewer, and curriculum committee member and program advisory lead. Ilya is also a business lead in HR, payroll finance, and supply chain technology and analytics for York Region. Welcome, Ilya.
Thanks so much. Good to be here.
Awesome. And yeah, Ilya, if you can go over a little bit about your background and some trends that you're seeing in this field right now, and a little bit about the course that you teach.
Yeah, of course. My background has, I imagine that a lot of people had me kind of moving around across different areas within the HR and then other fields. Mostly, I come from technology. So I've worked as a practitioner in HR technology. I've worked as a consultant, providing research and advisory services and in both people analytics and HR strategy, HR technology strategy. ERP and other enterprise applications. And for the last 7 years or so, I've been working at a very large municipality north of Toronto, managing a group of really talented analysts and HR technology professionals who support decision making for an organization of about 7,500 people. And that's obviously an area of significant passion. I've been involved in this program, the People Analytics program for HR professionals for a couple of years now, including teaching two of the courses, data management visualization, as well as the Foundations of Statistical Analysis, which is a course I'm currently teaching. In fact, at 6:30, we have our class this week. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
As
Okay,
far as
so
trends, I'm sure I know you asked me about some things that are coming up. This is an exciting field to get into. I feel like it's a field that's evolving every year. And now, especially with kind of the advent of of AI in our field, it's opening a lot of interesting conversations and debates as far as where, how, and how to best utilize these various models to support our work, but at the same time not compromise the very sensitive personal identifiable information we all deal with in people analytics. So it's an exciting time to get into this field. It's an exciting time in terms of development, and I think HR overall is really embracing analytics as part of our toolkit and our many superpowers when it comes to maybe hopefully one day being able to predict the future when it comes to workforce planning and optimization.
love that. Yeah, hopefully that is a future that's not too far away. So thank you for sharing that. Now, um, that ends the portion of our presentation. And now we'll open the floor to everyone for Q&A. Please enter your questions by typing them into the question box. And we already have a couple of questions. First one is from Jonathan. Thank you so much for your question, Jonathan. The question is, just in case it's not covered in the presentation, will the classes be recorded? And is there an AI component discussed within the program?
That's a great question. So the unique thing about the postgrad programs at the Chang School, including this one, is that the live synchronous sessions are really meant as a level of interactivity. So when you join the learning experience in our postgrad programs as a learner, you're going to get a lot of things that are already built out for you. So you have access to a lot of content, your activities, you'll be able to see the entire course as soon as you register. We don't lock down modules so that you don't have an idea of what's coming up. You'll be able to take a look at your entire learning journey as soon as you join us. The live sessions are meant for interactivity, so we don't record them. Because they're not a lecture based. So there wouldn't be much information that would be beneficial if you did a watch back, but there are lots of opportunities if you can't attend those live sessions, if there's something that's happening, you can absolutely feel free to connect with your instructor. Lots of opportunities to connect with your fellow students, but you can also rest assured that we're not going to be covering any material in that live synchronous session that you would miss out on that you would need in order to complete your assessments or complete your projects successfully. So you won't miss out on anything critical to the course, but you may miss out on that connection with your colleagues and your instructor. And then in terms of the AI component, I'll let Ilya speak a lot more in depth about that, but it is absolutely something that we cover. We do also cover ethics, using technology responsibly. That's something that's embedded into every single course. But Ilya, you probably have a more deep perspective on AI use specifically.
Yeah, we certainly we use AI when we talk about AI, kind of practicality and the pragmatic aspects of using AI for some analysis, but we also use examples of running some of the analysis through AI and then using interpretation and trying to figure out how it can be a supportive tool, but not necessarily a tool that gets us into a lot of a lot of issues from an ethics standpoint. So there's AI components in essentially every one of the 4 courses in the program. In the foundations class, we talk about it. In the data management and visualization side of things, we certainly cover it. In the statistical analysis, we cover it across different areas. And then and I know the storytelling, strategic application people analytics course that's coming up in the winter deals with it quite significantly as well when it comes to storytelling and then supporting sharing insights with different audiences.
Thank
Right,
you
good question.
for sharing that. Yeah, so maybe Ilya, you can expand on the next one as well. It's for the data visualization and stats course. How much maths should students expect?
It's probably heavier in math than the other classes. I would say that it's probably, there isn't an expectation that you'll come out of that class with a stats degree by any means, but certainly you'll get familiar with some of the common techniques that we use from a stats perspective, central tendency measures, measures of dispersion. What we talk about all sorts of analytical techniques around clustering, factoring, survival analysis, and the underlying kind of the mathematical basis. However, the intent is not to get you to necessarily be able to recite the formulas and the underlying science and math behind it, but really understand how it applies in the day-to-day application and use in the workplace, right? How these techniques can be used and how some of the analytical solutions and tools that we have available to us allow you to kind of use those techniques that have been built in there um, to best work with the scenarios you're dealing with in the workplace, whether that's trying to understand trends around attrition or figuring out changes to a compensation structure, retention bonuses, and things like that. So we cover quite a bit when it comes to math, but at the same time, it's not meant for a math audience. Everybody that's gone through my class in the last 2 semesters or the last 2 sessions has not been necessarily like a math whiz. In fact, that's one of the biggest worries people have going into that class. And I would say that those worries are alleviated through the kind of live sessions and the ability to connect with one another, as well as in class to kind of see some of the techniques and demonstrations. So um, rest assured, it's an accessible class.
To that point, just to add, the program was designed for it to be accessible. So we're not assuming that people are coming in with any particular statistics knowledge. If you're not, don't worry. The courses are designed exactly for that scenario. So it's really to help you upskill your knowledge, be conversant in things. And like Ilya said, lots of opportunities for practice, working through the live sessions. If you need more assistance, we have a lot of video content. We have a lot of practice activities and in context too. So you'll actually understand how things work in an HR scenario. It won't be independent of that. So really structured to make it an easily accessible learning experience for you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I know I always worry with some courses if there's too much math involved, but that's very reassuring. It's a good segue to the next question. It's does the program include both HR domain knowledge and data analytics training?
Absolutely. I would say that that's actually the whole design principle around this program is that it's designed for HR professionals. So the domain expertise is extremely important, and in fact, it forms the basis of a lot of the conversation and discussions in the class. We have professionals that come from, we say HR as though it's this monolith, but the reality is HR is all the different areas: talent acquisition and compensation and benefits and labor relations and all these other areas that talent management and learning and so on and so forth. So we have examples from across domains in HR. And then we apply, data management and data techniques to it, including using data sets from what you would expect to see, and from an HRIS dealing with, let's say, compensation, or from an HRIS dealing with, or from us, engagement surveys looking at the results. So certainly, there's a lot of opportunities hone domain expertise, while at the same time understanding the data fundamentals and data techniques available, and to deal with data, coming from those disciplines.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Okay, moving on to the next question. Are there opportunities to work with real HR data sets or case studies?
Absolutely, right. So we have. I mean, there's tons of case studies. I mean, there are examples from, there are examples of real things that happen in life that have been adapted to, to the class, and then the data sets. There's a couple of instances of pretty significant data sets, and we use AI to generate data sets, so that we can practice some of the techniques we learn on a data set that doesn't necessarily need to be anonymized and pulled from somebody's live environment or production environment. But yes, they're real. There are things you would expect to see in the real world, so to speak. Not to say that this isn't, but yeah, definitely you'll have an opportunity to work with real HR data sets and data that you would expect to see from HR systems.
And just to add on to that, you also have the opportunity in some scenarios where you can also bring your own real world projects into the classroom. So if you do have things that you're working on, you can check with your instructor and see if it's an appropriate fit. And we try to be flexible so that it's more relevant to you. So that's actually an option as well.
That's always great to know. Yeah, that you can bring in your own scenarios and sets to work on. Typical workload weekly for the courses, especially for someone who's working full time. What does that look like?
That's a great,
Typical. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead,
All right,
Olga.
no, you go ahead first. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, typical workload, I think, is about I want to say maybe 5 or 6 hours. I think is a fair estimate. And I would say that's split across reading material, videos, discussion board type interactions, and then the in-class sessions, which I highly recommend to everybody because it's a great opportunity to network and connect with others. Besides the point, a lot of the classes are, have breakout opportunities where we get to work in small groups on real cases and practice the techniques we learn in the week.
I think you covered it all.
Okay, great. Okay, so how do evaluations work? Final tests, assessments, what does that look like?
I mean, the course is built around authentic assessment, so there's very much application of it's not necessarily like you go in and you do a knowledge test and that's the end of it. There's opportunities to engage with kind of pre-check type quizzes that aren't graded, so an opportunity to kind of check your knowledge before the class starts or before a weekly content starts. There's discussions, there's case studies, there's challenge cases that you have an opportunity to engage with, and then there's group assignments as well. All of the work is meant to be practical and applicable to real life scenarios. So, if you're building a presentation for a senior audience where you're making a recommendation as an analyst or leveraging data to tell a story, that would be a practical example of an assessment. It's the assessment is spread across the 12 or 13 weeks, so it's not it's not like there's no midterm or exam at the end. It's not that kind of program. There's opportunities to interact throughout. There's assignments, there's cases, there's discussions, there's group projects, there's presentations.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that with our attendees. Next question, moving on, is how well does the data visualization analytics course prepare us for real life work scenarios? Are we able to apply to more HR data roles, or do you think additional training would be required after the certificate?
I've had members I've had folks that joined the classes and they were coming from a very different area in HR, and following some of the classes they pursued roles in HR analytics or more data oriented roles. So I would say specifically data visualization analytics course, it prepares you to understand what you're dealing with in terms of the typical visualizations and how to present HR data and then statistical information that isn't necessarily, consumable by all audiences. You might not necessarily go in and, to your board and say, hey, the Kaplan-Meier, curve shows this thing or that thing. But what you'll probably say is that, based on the analysis we've conducted, there's some insights to be had there, and they might inform certain programs or suggestions. So from a visualization standpoint, I think it prepares you quite well because none of it is theoretical. A lot of it is based on things you will see, whether you make it yourself or kind of encounter it in somebody else's analysis. Both are super valid. Whether you're a practitioner that's in the kind of the data side of HR or a practitioner that increasingly uses data in your presentations or in your discipline, there's a huge benefit there, and I would say it's allows people to position themselves for future opportunities, having that as part of the toolkit.
And I think along the same topic is how well does the certificate position students for entry-level people analytics or HR data roles?
I think it does a fantastic job of that. I think it's especially if you're, there's a couple examples, right? There's people that come from the data side that are trying to kind of break into and gain a bit more domain knowledge in HR, and then vice versa. There's people on the HR side that are trying to get more into the data or the technology side of things, as well. I mean, both are huge opportunities now, especially with HR technology and the overlap with people analytics that often exists in organizations that are either deploying or making better use of their HCM or HRIS systems, in-house. I think it does a great job of preparing people for entry-level jobs, and because the program is tool agnostic or solution agnostic, where we're not saying like it has to be Power BI or it has to be R or it has to be Python or Vizier or Tableau or whatever else. I think it allows people to gain the skills, but not necessarily be pigeonholed into a specific technology. So I think from my perspective, and maybe it's a biased perspective, I think it does a great job of that.
Awesome. Aubrey, anything to add to that?
I thought that was a very comprehensive response, so thank you, Ilya. But to the point that you made earlier, we're really looking to provide you with the foundational skills and the tools that you're going to need in context so that you can take them anywhere. So like Ilya said, we're not going to teach you a very specific tool so that you don't have to limit your skill set to just that one tool, but you'll be able to determine which tools are going to be a good fit for your use. You'll know how to analyze the data. You'll know how to ask educated questions and position things in ways that are going to be more meaningful for your stakeholders so that your voice is heard.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Does the course include any sentiment analysis for survey data?
Yeah, absolutely. We look at survey data, engagement survey data typically, or employee listening type data, in the statistical class, and also in the data management and visualization course. There's components of that where we look at sentiment analysis. But we take that further. We don't just look at sentiment, but we also look at clustering and factoring for questions and for audiences or populations within your surveys, which I think gives your sentiment analysis a lot more power, in my opinion. So there's certainly sentiment analysis, and we talk about the different techniques in sentiment analysis, not just the word clouds or things like that, but we get pretty deep into natural language processing and some of the things that are emerging in that field.
Okay, moving right along. Is there exposure to designing dashboards or HR reports used by leadership teams? If you can expand on that.
I think if the question is, are we going to be hands-on in a visualization tool building a dashboard? I would probably say no. If we're talking about designing dashboards as far as leveraging real data to build a compelling story with visualization for a leadership audience to support a recommendation or resolve or suggest alternatives that are possible to resolve a real life scenario. Absolutely. it's every one of the courses leans really heavily on visualization and storytelling to make sure that we can make the data, sing, right? It's not just here's a spreadsheet with 1,000 rows, but it's the stories that the data tells, and the kind of abstracting the jargon that exists in our field and make it more relatable and conversant, as Aubrey was saying, to different audiences.
Awesome. So the next question is about if there are any networking opportunities available. So I can definitely say that we've had networking events that are for not just current but also prospective students. So if you look out in our events page on the Chang School website, you'll always see them. But yeah, if there's anything else available similar to that, if you can expand on that.
Well, there are a couple of things like Mishra said there. So we have some networking events that we do offer that are program area or area specific. So the last one we had was for HR professionals, also included people analytics professionals. It's a virtual event. We do offer in-person events. Another service that we offer both for you when you enroll in a course with the Chang School that's available to you while you're at your time at the Chang School are career services. So if you are looking to pivot your job, if you're looking to connect with an employer, we do offer one-on-one career support, and then also we do offer flash mentoring with different employers. So that's a good opportunity for you to kind of engage in a one-on-one setting with somebody in the field. Absolutely recommend networking with your instructors because all of your instructors are employers. So Ilya has a team of people that he works with every day. And so you can tap into our instructors for real world perspectives on what employers are looking for. They'll be happy to share their journey with you and how they got into the positions that they are and how they landed in people analytics. And one other thing that you might want to take advantage of, I've seen a couple of questions pop up that this might be helpful for. We also do offer advising services. So if you're uncertain about maybe your pathway with the Chang School, you're thinking about HR in general, we do have some other HR programs, but we do also have an advising team that can help you determine what might be the best fit program for you. If you're looking for an educational solution, it's free. You can have one-on-one support. And they're very accessible. So please do take advantage of that if you feel like you're on the fence at all. I'm happy to support you before you apply for a program with the Chang School.
Yep, and I'm going to enter the email addresses for our advising team as well, so it's accessible to everybody else. So next question is from Jonathan. Thank you again, Jonathan, for your question. Looking to see your opinion on how workforce management professionals fit into this course, or if it'd be good for somebody with a workforce management background. I have over 20 years of experience in workforce management. Understandable that this centered around HR, but would that be a good fit for someone with that background?
First of all, I think that's a cool background to come into this course with, right? I mean, when I think about workforce management, I always think about, workforce planning and staffing models and forecasting for recruitment, but also forecasting for capacity, which is an art and a science. Yeah, we talk about it especially in the statistical course. I think we spend a lot of time on that, and there's examples from time and attendance, there's examples from absence management, there's examples from scheduling, there's examples from other areas of workforce management around capacity planning and budgeting. Is it strictly based on all those examples? Absolutely not. The course has examples from all domains. I consider workforce management kind of tangentially related to HR. So there's definitely examples of that. Queuing models, capacity models. We discussed those in kind of the predictive and modeling section of the statistical course, which in fact is happening today. So that's it's always funny. That's the section that we're on, week 12. Yeah, great question.
Yep, the classes start at 6:30 every Thursday, so yeah, feel free to enroll for the next term. Which tools and platforms are taught? Excel, Power BI, or HRIS systems? Anything like that?
We primarily use data sets that have been extracted from an HRIS type system. So there are excerpts of data that you typically see, right? Employee information as well as extracts to come out of surveys. But we have also examples that come out of R and then other tools as well, visualization for that. And, are we teaching you how to use R? I would say no. Are we teaching you how to use Power BI? No. This is meant to be kind of more of a tool agnostic approach. I think as a practitioner myself, I would say it's used. Those concepts are applicable across visualization and data platforms. So picking one as the kind of the best go-to is, I think, does a disservice to students. So we deliberately opted for things that people have access to. Excel is heavily used, and we use kind of examples within Excel of how to both conduct data analysis and how to structure data and how to impute data and values and how to deal with kind of missing information and stuff like that that you would deal with as an analyst on a day-to-day basis.
Awesome. Okay, so next question is from Michael. This is a general question for Aubrey. Michael says, I understand that this program and the majority of the programs are delivered online. Do you have any suggestions for students who wish to learn in classroom as opposed to online?
That's a great question. Thank you, Michael. So, what I would recommend if you have any reservations about online learning is maybe talk to one of our advisors. I think you will find online learning. I'm a very avid learner, so I do take classes a lot at other institutions, including the Chang School. So I just love learning. So and it looks very different depending on institution, the program, a lot of different factors. So if you're feeling apprehensive about online learning, if you have any questions, our advisors are absolutely here to help you. I would recommend, maybe, it wouldn't hurt to try out an online course to see what it's like. The experience that you'll get from our online courses, particularly in the postgraduate area, look vastly different from a lot of the other education I've taken at other educational institutions. So it's set up to be a very user-friendly environment. So the way that the actual platform is laid out is very easy to navigate. Each week, you're going to see the same type of sequence. So as you go through the course, you'll kind of become accustomed to what you can expect to see and how the information is broken down and how it's displayed. There are lots of practice opportunities. Now, if you're thinking, I'm the type of person who I like to collaborate with other people. So absolutely, that type of activity is baked into the courses automatically. We do have courses with group projects. We have lots of opportunities for you to connect with other people. So you're not going to lose that personal connection. We also have the live synchronous sessions that happen on a weekly basis. So you do have an opportunity, and they're planful and they have engagement. So you have a lot of opportunity to personally connect with people and your instructor. But I would suggest having a conversation with an advisor to get a better understanding of what online learning looks like at the Chang School so that you can decide if it's a good fit for you. Because you are right, most of our courses are online. I don't see that we'll be offering this particular program in a face-to-face format, but definitely, I invite you to come and talk about what the experience could look like and see if it might be a fit for you. And as I said, once registering for a course, you have access to the entire course. So you can get a look at the course, see what it's like, and determine if the learning is going to be a good fit for you. Attend your first live synchronous session with your instructor. Every course has, an opening, welcoming orientation in the first week. So you get a really good sense of what the instructor is going to be like, what the course is going to be like, and what your experience might pan out to be.
As I always say to all of our prospective students, is try out a course and see how that feels like. And I've also entered the Career and Academic Advisor email address, so feel free to get in touch with them. Okay, so at this point, we don't have any more open questions. Thank you to our panelists. We've answered over 15 questions, I think, so thanks for doing that. But if there's any last words or anything else that you'd like to add finally.
Oh, like I said, it's an exciting time to be in people analytics, and I think it's a really cool program. Lots of really interesting people from also all sorts of different parts of HR. I would say that as much as I'm teaching, I'm also learning from everybody in the class. So it's great to see kind of examples coming in from different areas. I would probably say that it's a cool field to be in. I'm biased though, I say that.
We do have one more question that just came in. Do the hours from this course count towards HRPA CPD requirements?
That's an excellent question. Not yet. We are in the process of moving that forward. So potentially in the future, absolutely check back. That's something we're going to be pursuing in the new year.
All right, while we wait to see if there's any more questions, there's one more poll that maybe people can answer really quickly. We want to know how we did and how likely are you to take a course from this certificate. If you could answer that for us, it helps us with how we follow up with our attendees and registrants and really helps us provide feedback to our team once again. Okay, we'll leave that on for a couple of more seconds. And quickly share that. So it looks like one person is very likely, and there's 4 people that are somewhat likely. So that's always good to hear. We will be following up with all of you as soon as the session is over, and look out for our emails. So at this point, I'd like to, I guess, do our closing remarks. Thank you to our presenters and panelists for taking the time out of your day, and thank you all for attending today's online session. If you're interested in learning more about this certificate, please visit our website at continuing.torontomu.ca. And if you have any other questions, you can contact me directly at mash.chaudhry@torontomu.ca. The recording of this session and a survey with all the information will be sent to you in a follow-up email within the next 24 to 48 hours. And on behalf of the Chang School and our panelists, thank you for joining us today and have a great rest of the day. Bye, everyone.